Hi, you are listening to the Influential Wellnesspreneur podcast, episode 19, featuring Steve Brossman, Australia's authority catalyst. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming, and if you've been with us before, welcome back. There's a new episode every week, so come back often, and we'd love you to add the show to your favorite podcast feed or iTunes. You can also watch this episode's video interview on YouTube and other content on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All the social links are in the show notes. Now I'd like to introduce you to your host, Sebastian Hilbert.
Welcome to the 19th episode of the Influential Wellnesspreneur podcast. My name is Sebastian Hilbert, and I'm the Wellnesspreneur expert, and I help wellness business owners to reach their ideal client with an effective online presence. On this journey, I often come across some really incredible people, and this time I have Steve Brossman here, the Australia's authority catalyst, he likes to call himself, which I think is a pretty cool name, and I'm super excited to have him here today. Steve, how are you today? Hello.
Hey, Sebastian, I am pumped to be here, buddy.
I can feel it. It's really good. For everyone who doesn't know Steve has over 30 years experience in business and has been responsible for building from scratch several 6- and 7-figure businesses, including inventing an environmental product selling 4 million into 26 countries. He took it from invention, manufacturing, marketing, distribution, importing and exporting to a big business. He also created several health-related products, licensing one of them into 2 countries and another into 5. He has over 20 years in video and TV experience, appearing on every network in Australia, several across Europe. He wrote, produced, and hosted a TV show on Channel 9 and has been executive producer on a project with Warner Brothers. In 2012, he was named Video Marketer of the Year. That's if anyone goes on his website, which you can find in the show notes, you will see a lot of videos, and it's really cool stuff. Let me tell you that. He is the Amazon #1 best-selling author of the marketing book Stand Up, Stand Out, or Stand Aside, and has co-authored 3 other Amazon bestsellers. Steve has spoken 15 countries and trained over 22,000 coaches. Wow, Steve, that is one highlight after another one. That's really excited. I'm really excited to have you here on the podcast today.
Lucky I started my first business at 3.
Something like that. Yeah. I think we could talk today about 2 or 3 hours about all the things that you, all the knowledge that you have, all the things you do. But I'd like to talk to you today, especially about your story, of course, but also about packaging. I know lots of people in the health and wellness industry and wellness business owners, therapists, they often sell their services one session at a time. And now I know you have a very important message to share here when it comes to people with an intangible product who service their clients like that. So that will be my most important thing to talk with you today about.
Fantastic. Excellent. Look forward to it.
Very good. But let's start with your story, Steve. Like, where did it start? You said you started with 3 years old. Is that true? Or
well,
in business?
That's just to belie my true age, actually. But it all did start, and it's interesting enough that it actually happened by accident. I was a professional athlete training for the Olympics. I was a 100-meter sprinter, and then crushed 3 discs in my back through doing the wrong thing and not enough of the right thing. And probably if I had some of your clients looking after me, I probably would have still been running. But that led me to my rehabilitation process. And through that, I fell in love with the health and fitness industry. And I thought, well, hey, listen, I can open up my own health club. And I did. But I wanted to do it a different way to everybody else out there. And that's one of the true things that I want to get the message across is if you're doing it the same as everybody else out there, then you're not going to stand out. And I've got some great tips to share with the people. As we go through how I've built my business, I'm going to include and infuse a whole range of teaching tips so they can see practically how I've done it and how they can actually implement it into their business. So I set my health club up because I wanted to have what I call fitness for all. Everybody was all the body beautiful, the bodybuilding and fancy aerobics, but we really focused on the deconditioned market. We didn't have a mirror in the whole gym, except in the change rooms. So we wanted to work with the people, and we had medically based programs for overweight, older people, seniors, rehabilitation, all of those. But I also wanted to build a kids program because my passion was at that stage, and that was back in 1983, kids was really starting to become obese right back then. So I set up a kids program, and it was going so well. I still remember saying to my sister, "Hey, Kerry, this is going to be an international network. Look what I've done. I've just drawn all these different things all over the place and how we could license it and franchise it." And she said, "Yeah, good on you, get back to work." But that was the first lesson, is if you do something well, systemize it, and then look at how you could help and teach other people do it. And that's what I did. I started helping other instructors to be able to get kids programs into their health clubs. And before long, we had it in 5 countries, and then had a 2-year stint on a regional TV show, and that led to a full TV show on Channel 9, which was a great lot of experience. But one thing that I want to really share with your people, which will be so appropriate, is the weight loss story. And way back in, it was 84, 85, the weight loss industry was really just starting to take hold. The Jenny Craigs, the Gloria Marshalls, and way back then there was trimming and toning tables, and every man and his dog was running a weight loss program, and they were selling them for 5 and 10 times what we could charge our gym membership for. And I looked at what was going on, and everybody in the gym industry was complaining, how do we stop them? And I thought, well, you know what? We're stupid. We're selling hard work, sweat, and they're selling aspirations and dreams. They're selling the outcomes. We're selling the input. And that's where it hit me. I said, yeah, we're selling the perspiration, not the aspiration. People will pay more for the aspiration. And so when wellness people are looking at what are we really selling, if they're selling per session and not the overall outcome or a program, they're selling themselves short, and they're selling their clients short. So what I did was I packaged up basically what we were doing. We were giving them brilliant exercise programs that were getting results. I had a dietitian work with me already that was getting great results, but nobody wants to go to a dietitian and work out hard. It seems too hard. So I hired myself one of the weight loss managers to work with me, and we created what was called Shed and Shape Budget Weight Loss. And it was half the fancy weight loss program, but at least double my own gym membership. So for the people who said they couldn't afford a gym membership, basically they just didn't want to go to a gym, they found the money easily to pay 2 to 3 times the price for weight loss.
Isn't that interesting?
And we kept selling out, and all the other gyms were saying, what the heck are you doing? And I said, well, I'll package it up and I'll sell it to you. And so we licensed that across Australia and New Zealand. And it's a big, big lesson right to today, that you don't sell the input, you don't sell the hours, because I said on my masterclass the other night, no one gives a damn how long it takes you to get them the results. They're only focused on their own outcome. And I see so many professionals, and I've just had a physiotherapist, a podiatrist, a massage therapist join my new program, because it's all about putting programs together. And I'll give you a classic example, or actually 2 classic examples. I went to a chiropractor quite a few years ago, and I said, I've got a bad back. And they said, well, great. The first session is going to cost you this. Then you've got to go and get some x-rays. And then you've probably got to do this. And it's going to cost you X dollars per session. I thought, you ignorant, selfish so-and-so. You didn't give a damn about me. If somebody had said to me, and I coach people to do this right now, and let's just say it was going to be, for easy numbers for me to do in my head, 10 sessions at $100. And so it's a $1,000 program. And it was all about the sessions and all about them. As they say, oh, Steve, we've got a program that's actually going to go through, and it's a back pain relief and strengthening / reduce back pain forever program. And that's 11 sessions, and it's including this, and this. and that's $1,400. But to make it easy for you, we can break it down into 4 simple payments of this. When would you like to start? So I would have been prepared to pay 40% more for that program because they understood what I wanted to get out of the program. It was broken up into a program, and just to make it easy, they broke it up, which was a commitment for me to pay them on an ongoing basis, therefore guaranteed cash flow. But instead of me booking in a session and then I got to come next week, oh shit, I can't find the money. Let me book in the following week. And therefore they're losing their guaranteed cash flow. And that's a big thing. But the thing with it is if I'd have gone, I probably would have got to about session 6. Started feeling pretty good and thought, you know what, I don't need to go to the rest, and dropped the last 4. Now, not only are you not charging a higher price, you're losing 40% cash flow because people aren't turning up. And I would guarantee to a T that everybody out there has experienced somebody dropping off a few sessions before they should because they're starting to feel good. So what I'm suggesting, and when I work with my people, is you package the program as an outcome-based program, whatever it is that they do and or need and want, package your sessions in it, and then divide it up. And let's just say I'm going to a physio or somebody like that that's going to reduce some pain and get me back on my feet. And say, look, the program is broken up into 3 parts. The first part is all about getting you back on your feet, getting rid of the pain. Then the next section of it is all about strengthening and getting you mobile and getting you back to where you should be, pain-free. But the last session is the one that is the most important because it's the one that's going to prevent you coming back here in 3 months' time with exactly the same problem, paying all this money again. Now, you seem like a person who wants to save money, don't you? Yeah. Well, the last 4 sessions are crucial for you not coming back every 3 to 4 months. So I've sold a program and the benefits of coming, and most people want to finish a program. They don't necessarily feel like attending all the appointments. So that's just a subtle shift. But what happens when you sell programs and you get more people through your programs? You increase the 4 R's, as I call it. If anybody's listening with a pen and paper, write them down. Because the first R is actually you're increasing the results of the people. And I'm sure your wellness entrepreneurs are in the business because they want to help people. So if you're getting greater results, then you're doing them a greater service by making them come to the 10 sessions and making them pay more. And therefore, they're getting greater results. So that's the first R. When you have a program, you increase the retention. So they're going to be coming right through. Because they're getting greater results and they're staying longer with you, they're going to be talking about you to other people. You're going to increase your referrals. So you've got your results, retention, and referrals, and that all adds up to an increase in revenue. And despite a lot of people want to be in business to help people, they still want to put money in the bank, which is why they're working with you. So if you can help them put money in the bank and they can start looking at positioning themselves differently and looking at their programs, that's going to help. So that's a roundabout, long-winded way to get to this point. But it all stemmed from way back when I was getting my butt kicked in the weight loss, health and fitness industry.
Yeah, very good. And I have exactly the same experience. I think it is some great advice right there. So what do you do when you have a new client and you want to start with them to package up the program? What are some starting points for that you go through with your clients, or when you're trying to achieve this packaging?
Yeah, look, it goes right back well before that. And let me give you a lot of classic examples. A lot of people still come to me and say, Steve, I need a hand with my marketing. And I thought, right, that's good. And I talk very much about the brown box syndrome. And we had a discussion the other day about the brown box syndrome. In fact, it's gone totally international. It's just been published yesterday in a very large magazine in America, business.com, about the brown box syndrome. So that's really cool. And that's all about the positioning of the people first. If they're positioned and calling themselves the same as everybody else, then quite often all they're going to do is just judge you on price, or do a lucky dip because you're the same as everybody else and think, well, what's going to be the difference? It's not until you unwrap the box you find out how good you are. So the first thing that I always do with people is look at who they are and how they can be positioned differently as a unique leader in their market. And a lot of time, the people, and I'm sure all of your people, do things at least slightly different to somebody else that's called the same in their market. So what are the specific outcomes they like to deliver, that they do deliver? And one of the easiest ways is to look at the best 3 outcomes they've got their best 3 clients recently. Or have a look at the testimonials that people are giving you, because if they're writing about it, that's their emotional connection to you, and that's what they did and will pay for. So therefore, that's what more of those other people. It might be just some of the things that you're not thinking about. Like I run a program called the Blueprint Conversion System, and I thought it was, I focused on, authority marketing, authority positioning, authority packaging, until I ran the last one-dayer, and 7 of the video testimonials that the people gave me were claiming it to be the best sales program they've ever done. And I was like, right, it's a great sales program, and it helps them sell so much easier, particularly selling the intangible. But I'm focusing on one thing, and my clients are excited about their delivery of getting something else. So that's a great lesson, that you've always got to keep listening to your people. And if you don't know what and who you are, listen to your people and say, what are the outcomes? And then clearly and specifically work towards that. So that is the next step into packaging. So once you've positioned yourself as a person that uniquely delivers those solutions and outcomes, then you look at, well, how can I package it in a way that people can understand it and people can buy it? And it's definitely not about the appointments and the hours. And I'll give you an example that 2 years ago, I was working with a guy who was manager of four health clubs down in Western Melbourne. And he, in the second week of working together, he said, Steve, I've got to reduce my personal training fees. We just can't compete. And I said, okay, how are you packaging them? How are you selling them? He said, well, 1 session is this and 10 sessions is that, which is what everybody does. And it's just, I slash my wrist when I hear that.
Why is that?
Well, 1 session, it's easy to compare. 10 sessions, you change it to the decimal point, it's easy to compare. And because everybody does it, you just compare it and say, well, yeah, look, they're $10 an hour cheaper, I'm going to go with them. So on the call, I said to him, great, what we're going to do is increase your fees 15%. He said, no, you didn't hear me. We can't compete. I said, no, you're not listening to me. I said, then we're going to package it up. We're going to call it a rapid fast start weight loss program. We're going to include a food diary where they're going to record their food. And I know that if all they did was record their food for a week and they were looking at what they were eating, they would reduce certain things and they would start losing weight. That's a given. It's just, and then at the end of that, you say, well, out of that, what can you reduce? And that's a given. That's going to help them no matter what. And put in I think I called it an exercise. It's matching what you like to do and what exercise is going to be good for you. It's what they do anyway, but we called it a different name. And we included all these things, including 11 sessions, because they always give away the first one free. And then they charge for 10 sessions. So this rapid fast start weight loss program is an 11 session program that is this, and this. They increased the fees 15%, included the free session. And he came back to me the next week and said, Steve, you won't believe it. And I said, I think I will, but tell me anyway. He said, we have sold more in the last 6 days than we have in the last 6 weeks. Again, because they were packaging a blue box, packaging an aspiration that people wanted. And they packaged it uniquely. And I tell people, if you're going to package up your services, package them into 7, 9, 11 sessions. And people say, what's the magic number? Oh yeah, that's the magic number. No, the truth is people can't divide by 7, 9 or 11 in their head anymore. That's it. If you have a 10 session program, all you need to do is have an 11 session program or a 9 session program, increase your fees, 12%, and you'll make more money, and just include something else. Like a great client of mine, a podiatrist on the Gold Coast. This is a classic example. And I've got a new podiatrist from Western Australia, just joined my brand new program. And he was in an area on the Gold Coast that full of runners, and it's the hub of the Gold Coast Marathon and the Gold Coast Fun Run. A lot of people were getting ready for it. So instead of just talking podiatry, what do runners need or want? In their own mind, they're wanting and looking for, on the posters we had, train harder, run faster, less pain. That's all they want. Beat your time, beat the pain. That's all they want.
Yes. And
we had an athlete's performance program, which was a 12-session program. We increased his fees 20%. He was in a very competitive market, increased his fees 20% and included a training diary. That's it. And they were told that they had to write down their training schedule and then rate themselves after every schedule on their pain and how they felt. That's all they had to do. But we also looked at the way that he was treating people, and podiatrist are podiatrist. But he did things, he was using a technique from the UK that was a little bit more manipulative, as in, not psychologically, but he was doing more manipulation, functional, structural. So we called him a functional podiatrist. And I asked him, does anybody else call themselves functional podiatrists? He said, no, they don't. I said, well, that's great. You're Southeast Queensland's leading functional podiatrist. And he said, well, I guess I am now. And that was it, because it more clearly depicted how he worked with and treated people. And I've got a great video on this. In 7 months, we doubled his client base. And he's moved offices now 3 times to cope with the increase in demand.
Wow.
So there's some great lessons in there for your people in packaging and charging and positioning that I hope they're listening to, and more importantly, I hope they take on board.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Because it's something I like to put out there all the time as well, and it's just on great examples explained how important this actually is. So, but what are some? You just said that this packaging is really transformed your clients' businesses. Are there some other factors in there? Like, what are some other factors which made this happen? Did this increase? I mean, the positioning, the packaging. Are there some other factors that played a role there?
I clearly work with people like you. I don't do their marketing anymore. I very clearly work with positioning, packaging, creating their authority. The other thing that is very important these days is what I call their blueprint. It's a one-pager on how they work with people that they can actually put in front of them to say, this is your success blueprint. And it's a great way of selling a package and a program. And all programs of some description is diagnose, design, deliver. So if somebody comes in, they'll diagnose what's wrong with them. Then they'll design a treatment program, and then they'll deliver it. So what I encourage and work with people to do is to be able to put that into a one-pager, which is all about how you take the people through the emotional journey in working with you. And so that's all about uncovering and working with them to find out what the issues are, to be able to, like put into little hubs and to be able to take people through that journey to get to the point of, so let's just say they've got a physical issue. It could be a knee problem. What happens is most people will just treat the needs and the solution, not the wants and the why. I got a thing called the emotive pendulum. And later on, we're going to share a thing called my ultimate sales game plan that all of your people can get for free. And it talks about the pendulum. When the pendulum sits down at the bottom, that's basically the red zone of death. That's mediocre. Up to one side is pain when you pull it right up, and then right up to the other side is the payoff. So if I'm coming in to you and I say, hey, listen, I got knee pain, is yeah, we can fix that. That's great. So tell me about the knee pain. And yep, so how's that affecting you right now? How's it affecting your life, your business? Well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And I can't. So that must be very frustrating that you can't do that. So what we've done there, we've taken the need and the physical pain, turned it into some sort of tangible, how it's really affecting their life. And I do it with people in their business. They might say, well, Steve, I'm not standing out and I'm not getting the clients that I want. So instead of me saying, well, I can help you get more clients, buy this. There's no connection. So we're saying, well, how's that affecting you not getting those extra 5 clients per month? Well, I'm missing out on, $1,000 and I'm missing out on this. And so how's that affecting your business? Well, I can't grow and I can't hire my staff. So how's that making you feel? Well, I've got to work longer hours and I'm missing out going home over night time to see my kids. And it's like, that's got to be terrible. So what I've just done then is actually pull the pendulum up. So we go back to the person with the knee pain. Is how's that affecting you? Well, I can't play sport. I can't do my cycling and I'm just starting to get a little bit of weight on. And so that's really affecting you, not only your lifestyle, but how things are working with you physically and the rest of your body. Yes, it is. So how's that actually making you feel? Oh, I'm getting frustrated. I'm feeling old and, I just can't play with the kids. I'm really just getting frustrated. So, okay, we've got a program that we can do this. So first of all, we will go through this, really diagnose what may be the underlying cause of the cause of your knee problem, and make sure we look at that first. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then we go and actually we reduce the pain. So how would it affect you to have that pain gone? Well, I'll be able to cycle again. I'll be able to get fit again. Great. So more importantly, how would that make you feel? Oh, I'll be able to get out with the kids. I'll get my energy back again. I'll feel good about myself. So this is what the blueprint, this is what my success journey is going to be for you. So we start here and then you take them on that journey. And most importantly, we have the sustainability phase where we really make sure that you're strong and this is not going to happen again. So you don't feel this again. And when people learn how to present and sell from a blueprint like that, and it takes so much less time, we are very visual. 83% of all senses go through the retina. That's our eyes, our eyesight. It's the strongest sense. Yet most people just talk. Yeah, if this is a podcast, we're just talking. However, if there's a video, my blueprint or somebody's blueprint would be up on screen and we'd be going through it. But you could just imagine looking at something, and as you're going through it, the treating professional, the wellness provider would be writing down, okay, you've got this pain, you've got this, and they're seeing the pain, the pain, the pain. As they get to the next part of the blueprint, they're saying the payoff, the payoff, the payoff. They'd say, we're going to get less pain, you're going to be active again, you're going to feel this, you're going to be this. It's all about taking things to the bank. In a business sense, we write down the extra money they're going to save, the extra time they're going to save, how they're going to feel about things, and the money they're going to make. So there's the financial bank and the emotional bank, and that's all tangible. So you can write that down, and while they're looking at that blueprint, all the extreme values that they're going to provide is in front of them, and they're looking at it, and they see that you have a blueprint for their physical, their wellness, their lifestyle success, whatever it is that they're going to provide. I say, wow, you've actually got a map for me to be successful, whereas other people just talk to me and tell me they're good in a nice way. So when it comes down to it, is I have a blueprint for your success versus, hey, I'm good, buy me. And I know I would bet to a T that there would be only and probably less than 5% of your people that love selling themselves. They're probably good at sales. They're probably good at selling something else except themselves. And most knowledge professionals who have to sell themselves, and I'm one of them. That's why I developed the blueprint, because I hated selling myself. I'd rather sell a system than myself. When you take the step away from selling yourself, you don't get the sweaty palm syndrome. You don't get to the point of, would you like to buy my program? Because that's all about you selling you. And say, look, Sebastian, we've got this blueprint here. We've gone through, we've shown you how it's going to reduce your pain. It's going to make you feel better. We've got this, this, and this. Does it make sense we get started on this sooner rather than later? And that's the hard sell. That is the hard sell of it all. Does it make sense we get started sooner rather than later? And the next part is all about the implementation. And there's a lot of psychology behind using a blueprint to sell. And once they've made that commitment, yes, it makes sense, then anything else that comes out is not an objection, because an objection is an opportunity to say no, but they've already said yes. It's just an obstacle. And because you've collaborated on a solution, then you're just going to collaborate on a solution to overcome those obstacles, not objections. So, it might be the money, it might be the time. Then let's work out a solution. And if you're a good provider, then you will work out a solution that is appropriate for them. And again, they will enjoy the sales experience, and you will get more motivated, highly excited clients because you've gone through this process.
Exactly. And they actually want to know, when you go through this process that you just said, of this emotional connection, of really identifying the why, the emotions and the wants and the dreams and the fears, and repeat it to them. What my experience is, they're actually just longing for you to tell them what is the solution, like what is your blueprint, like what do you do to fix this. They want to know at that point. There's no, oh God, how do I get to present my solution to them? How do I get to present to them what I want to sell? It really doesn't come to that point, because they will ask you for it. They will ask you for what it is that you do.
It just gives you a framework to talk to people. And when it's in front of them, you're actually collaborating together on it. So it's a collaboration process, not a convincing process. I'm not trying to convince you to do my program. We're collaborating to achieve your solution. It's just a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
And it's much more friendly. And let me tell you, it's a lot faster. It is a lot faster. They can see it. You don't have to talk as much. I had one of my clients who had a very successful business that people would talk to him and or his sales team, and generally be about 2, if not 3, 30 to 40 minute conversations before they'd enroll. I'd been telling him for years that he needed a blueprint, and he got it after attending one of my sessions. I understand it now. And then 87 out of 87 of his next presentations to people and his sales team joined, enrolled. Now, it was a $3,000 to $5,000 program, so it wasn't just a cheap thing. And more importantly, the whole process and conversation was around 20 minutes, and the people were getting off excited to join instead of going through a long process trying to convince me. Just the light goes on when people think, wow, this is just so much easier, because it's got clarity. People can see and understand what it is that you do, how that you're going to help them. You have a plan for them, and that's what they buy. They buy the plan. They buy the system. They buy the blueprint, the roadmap, whatever you want to call it. They buy that, well-constructed solution to their problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Steve, just at the end, what's up for you over the next couple of years? What's happening right now? Like, where are you going? What are you facing right now?
I'm convinced that this is a great system for people to use. I've been using it now, and more people are getting on board. I've got more speaking engagements. I'm about to launch, and I'll probably get you on, sir, my brand new podcast, which is called The Entrepreneur's Locker Room. Now, because of my background, health, fitness training, and one thing I hadn't mentioned is I am very heavily into the mindset. In the late 90s was appointed to the World Mind Body Fitness Committee in America. So I come from that strong background as well. And this is all about the 4 B's of being a great entrepreneur. It's brain, body, brand, and business. Brain is all about your mindset, making sure it's right and you're doing something positive every day to develop your mindset. Body, being in the best shape possible, whatever that means for you. It doesn't mean you have to be a high-level athlete, but being in your best shape possible, because if you fall apart, so does your business. Brand is next, as being and creating your authority factor in your own personal brand. And oh, by the way, business. Yes, we will be working on your business and giving you business tips, where most of the others are the reverse. It's all about the business, but no, it's the brain, body, brand, and then business. And that's what's going to be. It's for entrepreneurs who really do want to play a bigger game. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be something I've been wanting to do for ages. So that's the biggest thing. But the other thing is really helping entrepreneurs, particularly in what I call the knowledge professionals, those who do sell their knowledge, skills and or services, implement this program so they can actually grow their business and sell. That four-letter word, sell, stress-free and enjoyably. That's
very good.
Well, very good, me, buddy.
And that sounds fabulous. So the locker room is kind of, where does it come from? What's the metaphor there? Like, where's the
locker room? As a sports nut, being at the highest level, I actually coached people to Olympic level. Been consultant to national teams, international teams, English Soccer League teams, and stuff like that. So to me, everything and the analogies is all about sport. But the locker room in some of the big overseas places is not just the change room. The locker room is where they go to talk with all of their different coaches. That's the resource center for a lot of the different teams and organizations. So it's going to be the place where entrepreneurs can come and hang out with their specific quality coaches. I'm going to have experts from around the globe on different areas coming in, giving great information so they can actually come and hang. And that's also, the locker room is also the analogy for this is where you come to go back out and get all the training and the necessary to do the fine tuning before you go out to play your game. So it's all about the fine tuning and support of the sports people / entrepreneurs. And that's why I'm calling it the locker room, not to be male orientated, but to be fairly sports orientated. That I keep saying life is a game and it's a series of sprints, not a marathon. You've got to sprint hard, get momentum, rest, recuperate, regenerate, sprint hard again. So it's
I love that. Yeah.
High speed sprints, a lot of momentum, but also, take the time off to recover.
Yeah. Very good. That sounds really great. And I feel there's your passion is right there with encompassing kind of, when we got the glimpse today, but with that podcast, it sounds like you're encompassing a lot of what you have experienced in sport and mindsetting and in business and all those 4 areas. So it sounds very exciting, and I'm looking forward to hear more about it. I'm sure our listeners today as well. Steve, thank you so much for sharing all this valuable advice, giving examples especially as well. I think this is so important to actually get a real understanding how this works and is applied in real examples in the real world, because this stuff does work, and you gave great examples on how it can work. So thank you so much for joining in today.
One quick thing, I said I'd have a gift for your people.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, today is all about audio, so let's get some visual into it. I put basically what we spoke about today in what's called the ultimate sales game plan. It's not just sales scripts. It's really going through the positioning, the packaging, and all of those sorts of things. And if they just want to head over to stevebrossman.com/game plan, and I'm sure you'll have it in the show notes. If you want to be technically correct, it's HTTPS. Those slashes and stevebrossman.com/game plan. They can go and grab their copy. There's videos in there. There's all sorts of things. So that would help just solidify what we spoke about today, and then turn the intangible into a tangible.
Very good. And that was exactly what I wanted to encourage everyone to do. It's a really cool website. There's lots of video testimonials on stevebrossman.com. Very fun to watch. You can really explore what Steve does. He does a lot of things, as we heard today, but also through different channels. So through speaking and coaching and consulting and all kinds of other things. So definitely encourage everyone to explore there a little bit. It's definitely a lot of fun and a lot of value there. And I also encourage everyone to subscribe to the podcast, because there's more to come. And I see you all next week. And in my German manner, I say tschüss. And thank you again, Steve, for joining in.
Most welcome. It's been a lot of fun. And yes, do subscribe to this podcast. I'm sure there's some great value coming up.
Thank you.
If you would like to find out more about what Steve does, head to www.stevebrossman.com. The link for Steve's website and social profiles are in the show notes, so check them out. Don't forget to subscribe to the Influential Wellnesspreneur podcast so you don't miss an episode and get involved in our social community. We look forward to seeing you next week when we interview our next inspiring wellnesspreneur. Until then, have fun.